What if the economic booms and crashes that shape your life today were not first discovered by modern economists, but by a scholar living more than 600 years ago in North Africa? What if inflation, inequality, high taxes, collapsing states, and rising debt were not modern problems at all, but repeating patterns already mapped centuries ago? This is the mystery of Ibn Khaldun, a man born long before capitalism, stock markets, or central banks, yet one who described economic cycles with unsettling precision. Not through equations or charts, but through history, psychology, and power. And the most disturbing idea he left behind is this: every civilization carries within it the seeds of its own rise and its own destruction. Welcome to its financial history too. Ibn Khaldun was born in 1332 in Tunis, at a time when the world he knew was breaking apart. The Islamic world, once a global center of learning and trade, was fragmenting into rival dynasties. Political authority was unstable, cities changed hands rapidly, and rulers rarely held power for more than a generation. Then came the Black Death, wiping out enormous portions of the population across North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Labor shortages, abandoned farmland, collapsing trade routes, and shrinking tax bases became part of everyday life. This was not a theoretical world. It was a living laboratory of collapse. Unlike many scholars of his era, Ibn Khaldun was not confined to libraries. He lived inside power. He served as a court official, diplomat, judge, and advisor to rulers across North Africa and Andalusia. He witnessed coups from the inside, survived political purges, lost family members to plague, and experienced imprisonment and exile. Each rise and fall followed a strangely familiar rhythm. Dynasties appeared strong, grew wealthy, expanded power, then weakened, fractured, and disappeared. Over time, Ibn Khaldun stopped seeing these events as isolated accidents. He began to suspect they were symptoms of a deeper law governing human societies. While historians around him focused on recording events, Ibn Khaldun asked a more dangerous question: why does history repeat itself? Why do strong societies always seem to decay? Why does prosperity produce weakness instead of stability? And why do poor, disciplined groups so often overthrow rich and powerful empires? During a period of withdrawal from political life, Ibn Khaldun began writing what would become his greatest work, Al-Muqaddimah. Officially, it was meant to be an introduction to history. In reality, it became something far more radical, a theory of civilization itself. At the center of his thinking was a concept he called Asabia, social cohesion. Group solidarity, the invisible glue that binds people together into a functioning society. According to Ibn Khaldun, economics cannot be separated from psychology, culture, or power. Wealth is not created by money or rulers, but by people working together with shared purpose. Strong Asabia creates discipline, trust, and productivity. Weak Asabia produces corruption, waste, and decline. This idea alone put him centuries ahead of his time. He observed that civilizations tend to begin with small, often poor groups living on the margins of power. These groups face hardship, which forces cooperation and self-discipline. Leaders live like their followers. Merit matters more than status. Taxes are low because the state is small. Under these conditions, people work harder, produce more, and defend what they build. Trade expands. Skills develop. Wealth slowly accumulates. Long before modern economics, Ibn Khaldun made a claim that would shock later thinkers. Labor is the true source of value. Not gold, not silver, not royal decrees. Wealth comes from human effort combined with organization and trust. As stability grows, cities flourish, markets expand, knowledge advances, and culture thrives. This is the peak phase of the cycle, the moment later generations will call a golden age. But success changes behavior. The children of builders become managers. The grandchildren become consumers. Hardship fades from memory. Luxury replaces discipline. Leaders grow distant from the people they rule. To maintain armies, palaces, and court lifestyles, rulers raise taxes. Ibn Khaldun noticed something revolutionary here. Higher taxes eventually reduce total state revenue. As taxation increases, productivity falls. Farmers abandon land. Merchants hide wealth. Traders move elsewhere. The economy shrinks under pressure. This is the breaking point. Rulers misread the situation. They believe the problem is disobedience, not exhaustion. They assume people are immoral, not overburdened. So they respond with force instead of reform. Taxes increase again. Surveillance expands. Punishments grow harsher. Each solution worsens the disease. Economic output shrinks. Military loyalty weakens. The state becomes hollow, powerful in appearance, fragile in reality. At this stage, Ibn Khaldun argued, decline becomes structural. It is no longer about bad decisions. The system itself feeds on the productivity it destroyed. Late-stage states attempt reforms, but they fail. Why? Because those who benefit from the existing system control reform. Elites rely on high taxes. Bureaucrats rely on complexity. Courts rely on luxury. Real reform would require sacrifice from those least willing to make it, so fixes remain superficial. New laws, new slogans, new punishments. The root cause, lost trust and broken incentives, remains untouched. Eventually, a new group emerges, often from the margins, poorer, harder, more united, stronger Asabia. They do not overthrow the old system because they are morally superior, but because they are structurally stronger. The cycle begins again. What makes Ibn Khaldun unsettling is how familiar his analysis feels today. In many modern economies, government spending has reached historic levels. Public debt grows faster than productivity. Trust in institutions is collapsing. Social cohesion is fracturing. People work more but feel poorer. Taxes rise while real wages stagnate. Technology has advanced. Systems are more complex. But human incentives remain unchanged. Ibn Khaldun would recognize this instantly. He would not ask which political party is at fault. He would not blame ideology. He would ask a simpler question: are incentives aligned or are they broken? From his work, 3 lessons emerge clearly. First, economic growth depends on trust, not force. When people believe effort will be rewarded fairly, productivity flourishes. When trust dies, no policy can revive growth. Second, excessive taxation does not strengthen states, it weakens them. A shrinking economy cannot be taxed into prosperity. Third, social cohesion is the foundation of power. Wealth, armies, and laws cannot replace it. Once people stop identifying with the system, collapse accelerates. Ibn Khaldun believed history does not repeat exactly, but it rhymes structurally. Every generation believes it is different, smarter, more advanced. And yet the cycle returns. So here is the unresolved question he leaves us with. Are modern societies approaching the same breaking point he described centuries ago? Or can we do what no empire before us has done and realign incentives before collapse? That answer has not yet been written. If this perspective changed how you see history, economics, or the world around you, support the channel by liking the video and subscribing for more deep explorations into forgotten thinkers who still shape our lives today. And ask yourself, are we living at the beginning of the next cycle or closer to its end?